Hey, what's going on, everyone? Thanks for tuning in and checking out the video. Now, this video is going to be talking about Luis Collazo versus Keith One-Time Thurman taking place on cable TV, so all boxing fans can tune in and check out this fight. Now, this matchup, it's got a lot of people talking. Some people say it's good for Keith Thurman. Some people like this matchup. Others don't like it. Um, Really a mix of opinions on this matter. Now, when I look at this fight, from the terms of Keith Thurman's team and what they want to do, I understand them taking the fight because they're trying to keep Thurman active and continuing to compete. Now, on the other hand, this is a down step for him because Keith Thurman had just had the most high profile victory of his career over Robert the Ghost Guerrero, and now he's going down a class with Luis Collazo, in my opinion. But when you look at the options that he had, I would like to have seen him fight Devin Alexander. I know Devin Alexander has called for the fight, but Devin Alexander, as far as I had heard, was not approved to fight Keith Thurman. So he didn't really have a ton of options because let's be serious. At 147 pounds, I believe that Keith Thurman is the most avoided fighter in my books. And there's not too many guys, like I said, willing to face him. So he doesn't have a ton of options when you look at some of the fights that he can have. Now, a lot of talk about Earl Spence calling out Keith Thurman, and people are saying Keith Thurman is ducking him. But let me use this analogy just to describe what I think about this. So we look at a guy like Gennady Golovkin. He's fighting guys at 160 pounds. Some of these guys are ranked in the top five, top three. And he's destroying these guys, and people are saying after the fight, oh, Gennady Golovkin is fighting bums. Anybody can do that when you're fighting guys in the class that he's fighting. Now, Earl Spence is fighting guys who are C-level fighters. None of these guys are superstars or not even like Earl Spence hasn't fought anybody in my opinion whatsoever. So I don't understand the rationale behind that. In my opinion, Earl Spence does not deserve a fight with Keith Thurman at this time. Now, this is not a knock on Earl Spence whatsoever. I love that he's coming out and he's challenging top level opponents. He's calling guys out like Sean Porter and Keith Thurman. Now, I think though after a couple decent wins for Earl Spence, and maybe we'll talk about that fight, but he is a guy in Earl Spence, extremely talented. I believe is going to be a future champion for a number of years. Very humble fighter, and he's a guy. I mean, just talented. So, not a knock on him, but that's just my opinion on that matter. Now, moving on, guys, let's talk about Luis Collazo versus Keith Thurman. Now, when you look at this fight and what Collazo brings to the table, he's a guy who's a very experienced fighter. He's been there with guys like Shane Mosley, Andre Berto. He's been there, Victor Ortiz, Ricky Hatton. These are just some notable guys that he's fought. And Collazo's a tough guy. He's a southpaw. He'll work the body at times. He'll also give you some head movement every now and again. And Collazo, the biggest thing I can say about him at this current point of his career, he's a guy with tons of experience. So he's not going to be surprised by what you're going to show him in the ring. And he's a guy, like I said, he can take a decent shot. He's on the downgrade of his career, in my opinion. You saw when Amir Khan outclassed him in that fight. Every fight is different, though. I mean, he might have had an off night before that, leading up to the fight. Who knows? But in my opinion, he's on the downslide. So, in that way, it's kind of disappointing for Keith Thurman to go into this fight. Thurman's a guy who I love to watch. I think he's very good for boxing. But unfortunately, it's a keep busy fight, in my opinion. Now, let's talk about Keith Thurman and what he brings to the table. So, Keith Thurman, in my opinion, the most feared fighter, 147 pounds. He's the biggest puncher at 147 pounds, in my opinion. I love his left hook, straight right hand. Also, works the body very well at times. That's something that he does actually, not even at times, just very well throughout the fights. Also, he's a guy highly conditioned, throws nice uppercuts. He can box and brawl with you. Keith Thurman just does a lot of things really well inside the ring. And he's a guy who's patient. You saw that in the Leonard Bundu fight where he didn't care about the fans booing him. He was sticking to what he wanted to do in that fight. And he had a lot of success in doing that. So, my prediction for this fight, guys, I think Keith Thurman wins by stoppage, maybe the seventh round of this fight. And I think Keith Thurman's main goal for this fight is he's going to try to outdo Amir Khan's performance against Collazo, which is going to be extremely hard to do. But you've seen Keith Thurman been extremely vocal in speaking about Amir Khan, so he definitely wants to impress the masses and move on to a bigger fight. And I tell you, a fight that I love to see is Keith Thurman and Shawn Porter. I think it's a great time to do it. Of course, Shawn Porter, a lot of people were picking Adrian Broner in that fight, and you had Shawn Porter come out victorious. I think it'd be a great time if they could meet up and do an early fall matchup. I think that would be excellent. I think it would generate a lot of hype, and it'd be a really good fight in my opinion. So thank you very much, guys, for tuning into the video. Let me know what you think on the fight. You dislike it, you hate it, you're okay with it. Leave me some comments. Also, thoughts on Keith Thurman versus Errol Spence. If you guys want to see that, maybe I'm off on that in my opinion. Do you guys want to see Errol Spence jump in and fight him right now, or do you think he needs to step up his competition? Let me know what you guys think. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you very much once again.